Rise and shine on Australia's Vision Christian Radio.
Well, here you go. It's Tuesday, and we're into the podcast. It's Robbo here, filling in for Fel today, and Andy with me. How you going, mate?
Good. It was a fun day today, Robbo. There was a bit of everything. It was a big go week, a bit about evangelism, and also a lot about the naming of appliances.
It's been so much fun. People naming appliances, particularly, we had a number that naming their RoboVac, Disco Dave, and Housekeeping, and RoboCop were some of the names. But lots of people naming appliances, washing machines, and Snuffleupagus, the CPAP machine.
There you go. Yeah. So you'll definitely enjoy the podcast today. And if you are in Southeast Queensland, we are thinking and praying for everyone's safety over the next few days. And hopefully that cyclone won't cross the land as a dangerous storm, but it'll fizzle out a little bit.
Yeah, I think I'm always very sceptical. I grew up in North Queensland, so I'm like, unless it's Category 5, I don't care.
Not interested, Robbo.
No, that's right. But no, look, it potentially will bring a lot of rain and some wind. So, we do have to prepare, be safe, be alarmed but not alert. No, be alert but not alarmed.
That's it. And enjoy the podcast today.
Good morning. It is Rise and Shine. Robbo and Andy with you this morning. I'm filling in for Fel today.
The boys are back in town, Robbo, in the studio together.
Looking forward to a great morning, Andy. It's going to be a wild Tuesday together.
Yeah, it certainly is, Robbo, and hopefully not too wild for our Southeast Queensland listeners. There is a cyclone hovering off the coast, and let's hope and pray that what was Cyclone Albo, it's now been renamed to something much more boring than that. Let's just hope it just fizzles out and doesn't come to the coast.
That's right, that's what we're praying for, but we'll give you an update on that very soon if you've just woken up and wondering what's happening if you are in the cyclone zone. But plenty of other stuff as well this morning. AJ Spur's going to be joining us a little bit later on in the morning.
Yeah, and we're going to revisit a really good conversation with Jason Gray, the singer and author from the States. Just a great guy, great heart.
Inspiring, isn't it? Just to think about his resilience, pushing through some real challenges.
Thanks for streaming the Rise and Shine Daily Podcast. Please subscribe to the show, rate it on your favourite podcast platform, and share the link on your socials. It all helps get the word out.
And as I said earlier, there is a cyclone hovering off the coast of Southeast Queensland. And for our Southeast Queensland residents, it's good to be aware, isn't it, Robbo? But not afraid.
Well, that's right. Be alert, but not alarmed, as they used to say. No, you're exactly right. I guess, lots of people. In fact, I did it this morning, woke up and checked the weather, the latest alerts from the Bureau of Meteorology. It's certainly important. If you haven't had a chance to do that yet, we do have Tracy standing by with a special report for you. So here we have Tracy with the latest.
The Bureau of Meteorology is monitoring Tropical Cyclone Alfred. It is expected to become a Category 2 storm. Gales with damaging wind gusts of up to 120 kilometres per hour are expected to develop along the coast, according to the Bureau. The cyclone is likely to cross the Queensland coast late on Thursday or early Friday, impacting residents in the state's southeast corner and in northern New South Wales. Late on Monday afternoon, the Queensland Premier, David Crisafulli, issued this advice to Queenslanders.
I mentioned before that we're preparing, and that's why we're asking Queenslanders to do the same. So we are pre-positioning things like generators, which will be very important in whatever instance this manifests and whatever they are needed for. And I'm talking about things like power and sewerage and telecommunications. We are pre-positioning workers, like health workers, onto those islands in the event they are needed. The second immediate priority area are those low-lying coastal areas. I'm talking about people who might live on canals or on beachfront properties, those lower-lying coastal areas across that zone, to also begin thinking about their plans. And I just want people to stay up to date. There is the prospect that it could cross on a high tide. Now, that would provide a real complexity. That would provide some storm surge issues, and therefore we're asking people in those low-lying communities to stay up to date, but also begin your preparations in the event that that was to occur.
Premier David Crisafulli urging Queenslanders to stay up to date with the latest advice. getready.queensland.gov.au has warnings and advice.
Thanks, Tracy. Great little bit of update there for people in the cyclone zone in southeast Queensland. Getready.qld.gov.au is the place to go for the latest reports. And, of course, Tracy will keep us up to date across the morning as well.
Yeah, and as we said, be aware but not alarmed. I must confess, I went to buy some eggs yesterday, Robert, at my local supermarket, and I was alarmed at the amount of people buying huge amounts of toilet paper.
Yeah, that's right.
De-shelving the toilet paper. I'm thinking, gee, in a disaster, I don't know about you, that's the last thing I'm going to worry about. I'm going to go commando with the toilet. I'm not going to worry about the toilet. Let's focus on some other things, some essential ones. But, we hope and pray this thing doesn't even come to the coastline.
Well, that's right. Yeah, that's the prayer. But if it does, of course, you do need to be prepared. But you're right. I mean, people do some crazy things, don't they? You know, sort of grabbing the big bottles of water and all that sort of stuff at the shops. But yes, be aware of what's going on. Of course, Tropical Cyclone Alfred. It's still a fair way off the coast, but it is predicted to cross the coast in the next couple of days. As mentioned, Tracy will keep you up to date with that. But Robbo and Andy with you this morning. I was hoping that it would be Tropical Cyclone Andy just quietly, but it was Alfred, so that's the way it's gone.
Well, I preferred it when it was Albo. I mean, I think Tropical Cyclone Albo would have been much more apt.
Well, it was Anthony, technically, but I guess that was the way that it was going. So they did change the name quickly early on, made it Alfred.
Rise and shine on Vision Christian Radio.
And if you're on Facebook right now, on the Rise and Shine page, there is a wonderful photo there of a very young and fresh Murray and Phil, because today is their 25th wedding anniversary. And it is fairly early. I kind of hope they're not listening, Robert, but I kind of suspect they are. So, Murray and Phil, we just want to say again, happy anniversary. Yes. 25 years. I've got to say, Murray was a good-looking rooster back in the day. we heard the story yesterday from Phil.
Well, not that he's not good-looking now. He's
matured. He's like a fine red wine. He's gotten better with age. But, he was a good-looking rooster. And I think Phil yesterday shared how she first saw him in church, suited and booted, and he was looking fine. Well, Phil, you were right. He was looking fine back then, and you were, of course, Phil, looking $1 million as well. But congratulations to both of you. 25 years, and we hope, Robert, they enjoyed the day today.
Quite a milestone. Yes, they're going to spend the day together, so we pray God's blessing on them. And, jump onto Facebook and maybe wish them a little comment there and say how much you celebrating their 25th anniversary. But speaking of that meeting in church, here's a little bit of the conversation yesterday. You and Phil called Murray, and he told us the love story between them.
I do a lot of weddings, Murray. I do about one a week, sometimes two. And I always start every wedding with this question: what is your love story? And we always start by asking the couple to tell us their love story. So I'm going to ask you guys the same question right now. Tell me your love story. And you're the man, Murray, so I'm going to get you to go first. Tell me your love story about how you met and how you fell in love with Phil.
You know what? I'd actually heard of Felicia before I even met her. So I was actually over in the States. I was going through Bible college, living over there for a couple of years. I'd always planned to come back and help the local church that I was involved with before I left. But when I left to go to America, my local church had actually moved from one side of the country to the other. So it moved from the West Coast to the East Coast, believe it or not. So I thought, right, I need to go back and help the local church and get involved and all that sort of thing. And I remember hearing about this young lady called Felicia there, who was in the band and was involved in all sorts of things. Actually worked at the church there and whatnot. So I'd heard about her before I even got there. So I actually met Felicia for the very first time at a Sunday morning church service. I remember walking into the service because my best mate was actually the pastor's son. So we were kind of hanging in the green room to start with. We sort of walked in probably halfway through praise and worship for the church service that morning. And I saw this young lady. Actually, there were two young ladies up on stage at the time. One was playing saxophone and the other one was playing the flute. And particularly the flutist caught my eye, which happened to be my lovely wife, Belle. Yeah, sat down. I honestly couldn't tell you a single thing that happened in the service or what the message was about or anything like that. But I do remember as clear as if it was yesterday, after the service, because myself and my mate, the pastor's son, were sitting on the front row. And straight after the service, I remember Felicia, clear as day, walking down the steps to the podium, making a beeline for me and saying, "Hi, you must be Murray, I'm Felicia." She shook my hand very officially.
It was a good firm handshake, was it, Murray?
It was a good firm handshake. She looked me in the eye. She looked straight through my soul, to be honest. and look, to be honest, we started hanging out from there and things turned very quickly into the greatest love story ever told.
It is the greatest love story ever told. Muzz and Phil celebrating 25 years of wedded bliss today. So congratulations again to you guys. And as Andy mentioned, if you want to see a very cute photo of them around that stage of their life, check out Facebook, jump onto the Rise and Shine page or the group, and wish them well today on their 25th wedding anniversary.
And I did hold them yesterday, Robbo. I said to them, we're going to interview you again in 25 years' time for the half-century milestone as well. So looking forward to that interview.
Well, they say the first 50 years are the hardest, so they're halfway there. So it's all downhill from here.
Wait a minute. Are you telling me Vision's breakfast show is now available around the clock and on demand? Incredible! The Rise and Shine podcast. Rise and Shine.
Are you ready for a challenge? Listen to the mystery sound, correctly name the Bible story, and win a great prize. Sounds easy, but is it? Rise and Shine's Bible Stories Sound Off.
Well, if it was easy, it would have been one a week ago, but it hasn't gone off yet, Andy. This secret sound that people are trying to guess.
How do you rate the quality of the sound, Robbie? You've been doing this a long time. Talk me through it.
Well, you've been saying it's Hollywood quality, which is because you're the one that put the thing together. But now, look, it is a very tricky sound, and we're trying to identify what it is. Now, thankfully, Fel's not here today, but she did leave our time machine set up here, ready to go, with the sound ready to play. So here is what we've got so far.
Ooh.
Okay, so we've got some sort of movement, and then, I don't know if is that water or wind. It could be one or the other.
I'm not giving anything away,
okay,
Robbo.
Good man. I was going to ask you, have there been any clues? Have you given any clues yet for the people that have been guessing?
I think we might have said that it wasn't in the New Testament. Did we say that?
I don't know. That's why I'm asking you.
You and I were on last week. I'm pretty sure you gave a little clue last week. But look, there have been some answers that are wrong. Maybe we play those.
Well, I think that's the way we can say what it's not. And
that's
that
right.
Is this right here.
I'm going to say that they are the wheels of the chariot of the Ethiopian man as he's going through, and then it gets met by Philip.
I was thinking, is it when they were all gathered outside Lazarus' tomb and Jesus raised him from the dead?
Maybe wind, tongues of fire coming on Pentecost, Yeah,
I think that it's the sound of the waves hitting the boat as Jonah's trying to escape.
Is it the stone rolling away from Jesus' tomb on his resurrection?
Yes. Moses floating in the river when he was a baby. I wonder whether maybe grinding of a millstone.
All right, so we've got lots of options there. We've got grinding, rolling, winds and waves. So it's, I think between those, you're kind of in the right zone, but obviously it's only going to be one or the other of those different options. So that's what it's not, but what do you think it is? Here is the sound again. Give us a call, 1-800-316-316. If you think you know what the Bible story sound-off is.
The Rise and Shine podcast.
We've had quite a variety of guesses, haven't we, Andy?
Yeah, look, when you've been in the game as long as me making those sounds, Robbo, it's all about texture. It's all about layers. There's many layers there. There's a lot of texture, a lot of complexity to that sound, Robbo.
There sure is.
Not a simple sound. It's not an easy answer.
There's been some great answers coming through, though, so far, and we've got more people today that are lining up to give us the answer, and we've got Andy first up with a guess. What do you reckon the answer is?
Well, yesterday one of the answers was something about Ahab's chariot going down.
Yeah,
and you said it was really warm, so I'm going with the Elijah versus Jezebel's false prophet showdown on the Mount.
Oh, okay, that's a very good guess, mate. But unfortunately, it is not correct.
Good guess, though, Adam. Very good guess.
Solid guess.
Very solid.
I love that. I love that story. It's a good one.
It is a good one, isn't it? Hey, thanks for the call, buddy.
Yeah, no worries.
Are you there, Ellie?
Yeah.
Yeah, what do you reckon the answer is?
I thought it could be the big truck or whatever it's called that they had put their wheat on, where and they pick up and they how she was allowed to pick up the bits of wheat.
Oh, right, yes, yep.
And there was a truck that was picking up all the other stuff for the Boaz, I think it is.
Yes, it's like a grain cart, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
Yep, okay, that's a great guess, Ellie. I like that. But unfortunately...
It's not good enough.
No, not correct. Well, it was good, but just not correct. But great guess. Thanks so much for the call.
Thanks, Ali.
Thank you.
Mel, what do you think the sound might be?
I'm going to go with Noah closing the ark before the flood.
Oh, right. So that's the door closing of the ark?
Yes.
You know, that's a really interesting part of the Bible. The Bible actually says God shut that door, which is really interesting, isn't it, that God himself shut the door. It still made a noise, though, Ali. That could be the right answer. Robbo, is that the answer?
Definitely made a noise. It might have been that creaking, groaning. Unfortunately not, though. But thanks so much for the call today.
No worries. See ya.
Hello, who have we got there?
Judah, and mine is that when the Egyptians try to stop the Israelites from crossing the Red Sea.
And what happened?
The Egyptians got destroyed by the waves.
That's right. So the Red Sea parted, the Israelites went through on dry ground, and then the Egyptians followed, thinking, here's an easy capture, and then God intervened, didn't he?
Yeah.
It's a great story, Judah. And you know what, mate?
Hang on, let's ask a question here. Judah, how old are you?
7.
7. What a cool little man you are. Do you listen to Rise and Shine, or has your mum or dad put you up to this challenge this morning to call us?
Mum and Dad.
Did you think of the answer yourself, Judah, or did mum and dad give you the answer too?
Me.
Judah?
So it's your answer. You've called on behalf of the family, and you know what, mate? You're correct.
Yes, Judah.
Well done.
Judah.
You've nailed it.
Robbo, can we play the whole sound for Judah? Have you got that there? Judah,
Actually, I don't have it in front of me.
Oh, he doesn't have it in front of him.
No.
Okay, but Judah, you have nailed it, my young friend. Nailed it.
Well done.
Good job.
Jumping for joy. Hey, mate, just hold the line there and we'll grab some details from you and Mum, and we will get a prize out to you.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you.
Well done, guys. Good team effort.
All right, just hold there, guys. We'll come back to you shortly. What a great effort there from young Judah, who's won himself a prize. We'll send a DVD out to Judah today, won't we?
He could be a future radio star, Robbo. He conducts himself very well in his interviews, doesn't he?
So true. So that's great. So that means, of course, that there'll be a new sound tomorrow for the Bible Story Sound-Off.
Oh, the technicians will have to get to work
That's
today.
right.
I might have to call in Santa's little helpers to help me out here because I'm going to have to come up with a story and a sound. But that was really good. Some really good guesses, though, wasn't there?
I love the guesses coming through. People are obviously giving this a lot of thought. So we'll have a brand new sound when we play the Bible Story Sound-Off. It'll be returning same time tomorrow here on Rise and Shine.
We're caffeinated and ready to face the day. This is Rise and Shine on Vision.
Rachel Purcell, Show Up. That's brand new from her. And you guys spoke to Rachel Purcell just a couple of weeks ago.
We did, the Southern Belle, as she described herself. But, I really do like that song, Rob. I've got to say, she's done a great job there.
Yeah, I agree. And I was just listening to it again the other day in the car. And, there's a line in it that just basically talks about, when we're weak, God shows up, and I just it really grabbed me. It was fantastic. But Rachel's not the only person that you guys have spoken to recently. Of course, yesterday, Andy and Phil spoke with Jason Gray.
Yeah, another US artist who's got a fantastic voice, and you can listen to his music, Robbo, and think, this guy's pretty cool. He's got a great singing voice. But then you listen to him speak, and obviously he grew up with a speech impediment, and he's got family, and, he's a human being. He's a normal guy like you and I, but God's using him as a singer and as a performer. So, but he shared a really nice, heartwarming story yesterday, didn't he?
It was an amazing story, just as he was wrapping up his time with you guys, talking about a experience he had with his son not that long ago. It was at a camp that he goes to every year. He goes and speaks at this particular camp, and this is what happened.
And the whole staff was having the end of the week meeting in the gazebo down by the lake, and we're talking, and I had a 5-year-old at the time. His name was Gus. He was 5 years old, and he's down the boardwalk playing a little bit. And he's playing with the camp director's daughter. Her name is Josie, and she's sweet and gentle and delicate, and my little boy Gus is more rough and tumble, and so like I'm keeping an eye on him to make sure he doesn't try out any Jedi kung fu moves on delicate little Josie, and I'm a little bit anxious about because he can be that way, like he can be very active and forget himself in his own enthusiasms and exuberance, right? So I'm keeping an eye on him and ready to intervene if I need to. So that's my state of mind. And so imagine my delight and my surprise when I see that there's a breeze coming in off the lake, and it's kind of cold, and Josie is kind of complaining of being cold. You can see it. And imagine my relief and delight and pride when my little boy, who I want to make sure he's not going to like hurt Josie, instead takes off his little jacket and gives it to her. And that brought me such pleasure as a dad. And the other people that I was in the staff meeting with, they saw it happen. And so that makes me look good as a dad, right? Like wow, you've raised an exceptional young boy, right? It brings his dad glory. So in that moment, he brought me pleasure and glory just by the way he conducted himself,
I love that. That's a great illustration of how God, I guess, feels about us as well when we do kind things to people.
Yeah, that's obviously where my mind went as well, Robbo, that, God just feels that same sense of joy and pride in us as his kids when we do good.
And I'm sure God feels a great sense of pride and joy in Jason Gray because, he could very easily just go, oh, you know what, I've got a speech impediment, I'm just going to check out. And yet he's pushed through. And I mean, he does amazing music, but he speaks as well. Like he's actually a part of like a talk program in the USA. And so he's interviewing people and, just, I guess, pushing through that obstacle that would be pretty frustrating for him, but he just keeps on showing up. And, God's been able to bless him.
He sure does show up in his life, doesn't he? And, just a great human being, Robbo. All-round nice guy.
Yeah. I think it's something that we can take away too, and this is something that God's really been speaking to me over the last few days about. And even I mentioned that song Rachel Purcell sang a minute ago called Show Up. Like, it's in our weakness that God shows up. And so sometimes we can try to hide things or say, oh, I won't let, this sort of show. But, when we're actually, the Apostle Paul talked about boasting in his weakness, and it's in our weakness that God's strength is perfected. So I think that's something that we can actually, embrace in some respects and say, you know what, I've got this inadequacy or whatever, but God can actually, maximize that and bring glory for himself through it.
Yeah, always, Robbo. Love it, mate. Love it.
It's the daily podcast of your favourite Aussie breakfast show, Rise and Shine. Rise and Shine.
Good morning to our Vision family in the Central West Slopes and Plains of New South Wales. Checking the weather for you. It's going to be a sunny day with the tops up in the mid-30s. It's going to be 34 in Warren today. It's just nudging 20 right now, but climbing to 34. If you've living in Warren with the name of Warren, we want to hear from you because we're chasing those names with people having the same name as their town. But the other reason I did the weather in for Warren is because just up the road from Warren is where Judah lives. Judah won. If you missed it about half an hour ago, the Bible story sound of it went off, Andy.
Yeah, he's 7 years old. He was a little champion, Robbo, and I did some questioning. I wanted to make sure he came up with the answer, and he did. He nailed it. Now, Robbo, I want us to play that whole sound, and you just sit back there, Robbo. You might want some popcorn, grab yourself a soft drink, maybe some Maltesers, because this is like a Hollywood blockbuster, this next sound, okay? I just want you to get ready. I don't think you've heard the whole sound, Robbo, have you?
No, I haven't heard it all yet.
I just want you to enjoy this. It's like going to the movies, okay? Are you ready for this, Robbo?
I'm waiting with bated breath.
Play the sound, Robbo. Play the sound.
This is the sound that Judah identified correctly about half an hour ago.
That was it, Robbo.
Oh, that's amazing. So we had heard about 2/3 of that, but that last little that was the new bit.
I don't know why. I like the scream. And
Judah didn't even need that to get the answer right. In case you missed it, it was the Egyptians trying to go through the Red Sea to capture the Israelites, but they got washed out with the water and drowned.
And look, to coin a phrase, Fel's not here today, but she does love saying this. Is it in the Bible? Well, if you're listening, Fel, it's in the Bible. Are you ready? I've even got a Bible verse. It's Numbers chapter 15, and it says I love this, verse 3, the Lord is a warrior. The Lord is his name. Pharaoh's chariots and his army he cast into the sea. His picked officers were sunk in the Red Sea. The floods covered them, and they went down into the depths like a stone.
Like a stone. And they went down screaming.
Look, we shouldn't laugh, but yeah, they did. And, obviously in the modern Christian era, we can use them as a metaphor for our spiritual enemies. When we get water baptized, there's a great truth in this.
Yeah.
When we get water baptized, our enemies are destroyed, our addictions, our habits, our old life, our sin, all the stuff that's tormented us. For some of us, it's depression. Some of us, it's just feelings of abandonment or not feeling love. Whatever it is, those enemies are destroyed in the Red Sea of the baptism waters. One more time, Robbo. There you go.
I love it. Well, that's a great reminder to you, and also a reminder that we'll have a brand new sound tomorrow on the Bible Story Sound-Off.
I've got some work to do today, Robbo.
That's right. You've got to come up with something as equally Hollywood blockbuster-ish as that.
You found the podcast of Vision's breakfast show, Rise and Shine. Rise and Shine.
Justin Michael, did ya? Don't worry on Rise and Shine, Robbo and Andy this morning.
Or as I like to say, Robbo, didgeridoo, don't worry.
I love that. That's your very Australian name for an Aussie artist.
And if you're just joining us and wondering why there's two male voices in the studio today, Fel is away today. It's also Fel's 25th anniversary to her husband Murray. And there is a photo of the happy couple 25 years ago on our Facebook page, the Rise and Shine Facebook page. So we wish them all the best. Happy anniversary, Fel and Murray. There's a really nice comment here, actually, on the Rise and Shine Facebook page from Lizzie. It says this, Robbo, happy anniversary, Fel and Murray. That's a gorgeous photo. Much love to you both on your special day.
Yeah.
Love heart.
Oh, nice. That's so good. Yeah, so you can jump on Facebook, check out that very sweet photo, and add a comment as well. Let them know that you're thinking of them on this 25th anniversary date. But last week, Andy, Fel told a very funny story about a RoboVac that escaped from their house.
Went rogue.
And it went up the street. It was on an escape mission. It was quite hilarious. But in the conversation, and then asking the listeners whether they have had similar experiences, Belle rang and she shared this story.
I have very long hair down to my bottom, and sometimes old RoboCop gets really choked up in his little brushes.
That's right.
So they give you this little tool to use, but I was at the mechanics one day waiting for my car and spotted the wire brushes that they use on the engines, and I thought, I think that'll work for RoboCop. And it works like a treat.
I love the tip, but I also love the fact that Belle has named her vacuum cleaner RoboCop.
I've never heard of this before, Robbo. I'm not against it. I'm not criticising it, but I've never actually heard of naming your appliances. Have you?
I've heard of it, but I've never done it myself. But I know, that you certainly have, like you might have Fred the Fridge or, whatever the case might be.
Love the Rise and Shine podcast? Tell a friend today.
Robbo, I'm amazed at all these people who are naming their appliances. This is a whole new world to me, but I'm embracing it, Robbo. And we've got Thara on the line because she's got a name for a laptop.
So you have a laptop that you've named?
That's right.
What's its name?
Rex.
Rex, the laptop.
Rex, the laptop. I want to know about this relationship, though. Is it a good relationship or does it get strained at times? How do you guys get on?
It's a great relationship. I've had Rex for 20 years.
Oh, my goodness.
That's almost as long as Fel and Mary have been together.
No, I've got Rex third generation now. So, he's always been Rex.
Oh, right. So you upgrade your laptop and he still is Rex.
He's still Rex.
That's classic.
That's right.
So how did it come? Because, typically, like I would think Larry the laptop or, whatever, Ian the IBM. But where did Rex come from?
He's just so unemotional. And I don't know, I just feel that he's sort of this old-fashioned, unemotional person. And so he's got no tone, no pitches. So I just decided to name him Rex, like T-Rex, like the dinosaur.
Classic T-Rex, the dinosaur laptop. Well, I think if it's a 20-year-old Rex, it probably is a bit of a dinosaur. thorough, but I'm glad that you've got a good relationship with it. Sometimes we can have a strained relationship with our technology. So.
No, I love Rex because it really enables me to do almost anything and everything and work as well.
Fantastic. That's so good. Well, thanks for sharing that this morning. It's great to hear from you.
Yeah, you guys have a good day. Love your show.
Let us know what you've named around the house. You can give us a call on 1-800-316-316, or you can jump onto Facebook. There's a post there in the Rise and Shine page and the group. You can comment there. But Ruth's given us a call this morning.
We've got one of those vacuum cleaners that, just goes around the house, little circly thing.
Oh, yeah, the Robbo Vax.
Yeah, housekeeping.
Oh, that's brilliant. Have you ever had, because last week Fel was saying that theirs escaped from the house and went up the street. Have you ever had anything weird happen with housekeeping?
Yeah, no. Housekeeping gets stuck occasionally, but on the step. But no, apart from that, housekeeping does a great job.
Excellent. Oh, that's so good. Do you name any other appliances, or is that the only one that you have given a name so far?
No, that's the only one we've named. So, I don't know. It's just because we don't do anything except empty it or fill it up. So we just call it housekeeping.
Fantastic. I love it. Oh, thanks so much for the call, Ruth. Great to hear from you.
Have a great day. Bye.
Let us know what you've named your appliances. You can give us a call this morning, 1-800-316-316. Or you can jump onto Facebook as well. Give us a comment there. Maybe you can even post a photo, I guess, of your appliance.
Hey, that'd be good.
Given a name.
I'd like to see Rex the laptop. Take a photo of Rex if you're still listening, Farah. I've never heard of this before, Robbo. So this is a kind of very new experience for me. But it's a good experience too.
Absolutely.
Just the right mix of things to inspire and things to make you smile. Rise and shine on Vision.
And Robbo, we innocently put a little post on Facebook yesterday. Do you name your appliances? Because one of our listeners, Belle, calls her vacuum cleaner Robocop. You know those vacuum cleaners that kind of whiz around on the floor on their own. And I'll tell you, I'm amazed at how many people have names for their appliances.
It is amazing. We've had lots of calls coming through this morning. You can keep the conversation going by calling 1-800-316-316. Cynthia's given us a call this morning.
You've got a name for your RoboVac. What do you call him?
We call him Disco Dave. He looks like he's having a dance every time he's running around.
That's cool, yeah, because they do a little bit of a jig, don't they, as they sort of move around?
They really do. They really do. At Christmas, we put lights on him. So, on him, right? I've given him obviously I've got to give him a gender as well. So it's a bit sad, really.
Disco Dave. I love it.
But do you have real feelings for Disco Dave? Because you just know that he's sort of taking a chore away from you?
Yeah, whether it's feelings, but I do appreciate it, actually, because it does get rid of another thing that we all have to do, with vacuuming and having pets and all of that. So, it's really good.
And does Disco Dave mop as well? Because I know some of these ones mop as well as vacuum.
Yeah. No, he mops his... I'm feeling really odd calling it a him, actually. But he does mop as well. He's not the smartest dude, though. We used to live in an apartment, and he tried to sort of jump off the balcony.
Hang on, suicidal Disco Dave. Wow. He's trying to take the leap, is he?
We decided that our house must have been that dirty that he couldn't cope anymore.
Wow, that's amazing. That's so classic.
So funny.
Yeah.
Now, Cynthia, you're also a chaplain, aren't you? Because this is what we're calling Go Week. We're talking about how we all go into all the world and make disciples. So tell us about your chaplaincy work.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm a chaplain in the secondary secular environment, and in fact, I'm literally making pancakes this morning. I've been sort of at school for Shrove Tuesday.
Of course, yeah.
Yeah. And so I've been listening to Vision, and I actually prayed before, because pancakes can go so bad so quickly, right?
Yes, that's true.
And I'm feeding, 50 to 100 kids this morning. So, and I'm hoping, because we're not allowed to really lead a conversation about the gospel, but I'm hoping some students will ask me why we're doing pancakes, and then I can lead into a conversation about Easter and just sort of, and I prayed this morning that students come to me who are interested and are questioning and wondering about our Saviour, Lord Jesus. So
fantastic.
Let's hope, yeah.
Well, good on you, Cynthia. Well, we pray blessing over you today as well, that you'll have those opportunities, that the kids will ask the right question and just open the door for a gospel conversation with them. So good on you. Thanks so much for doing that. That's really inspiring.
Thank you so much. God bless you all. Take care. Bye-bye.
Say hello to Disco Dave for us too when you get home today.
Indeed. Take care. Bye.
Always encouraging and always fun. Rise and shine on Vision.
Morning. Well, Robbo, we've called this week Go Week because it's all about going into all the world and making disciples. And on the line, we have got AJ Spur. She's an author, she's a speaker, she's a business person, a mother, a wife, and an all-around great human being. AJ, welcome to Rise and Shine this morning.
Thanks for having me. What an intro. I hope I can live up to that.
Don't you wish you had someone walking around introing you like that everywhere you go, AJ?
Yeah, absolutely.
Brilliant.
You know, AJ, when I was a pastor of a church, the thing I did best as a pastor was actually introduce guest speakers or people in our church. I just used to love building up the speaker before they got up to speak in church. That was one of my favourite things.
Love it.
Yeah. Only lasted about 3 minutes. That's all I did well. 3 minutes a week of good work. But AJ, it's Go Week. And we just wanted to ask you, have you got some stories about how you as an individual or maybe you as a family, how you go into all the world?
Yeah, well, my parents took it very literally, and they were missionaries in the Middle East.
Wow.
They're actually in Lebanon during the Civil War. And so they have some incredible stories. And one of them, this is why as a child I believed that monkeys could talk. Was because during the Civil War they were being evacuated out of the country and they were waiting at the airport, but there was no air traffic allowed because of all the bombing, and so they had to sleep at the airport for a few days. And I remember as a little girl my parents telling me that the guerrillas would bring them food and water and look after them at the airport. And, of course, a gorilla is the name for their soldiers.
Yeah. Oh, that's brilliant. So you're thinking a hairy monkey, but they're actually talking about people.
AJ, that is so funny. When I was a kid, I thought the same thing. I used to hear news reports about gorillas too in different civil wars around the world, and I thought they were actual gorillas too. And I was terrified of them because also the Planet of the Apes was big back in the day too. And I'm just visualising these gorillas with guns on horses riding around, getting guys like me. So, that's so funny.
No. Well, I was picturing them as really kind and gentle because my
that's right.
understanding of them was they help people.
Yeah, they're delivering food and water.
The friendly monkeys. So, AJ, let's just go back a step there. What were your parents actually doing? Were they church planting or training pastors or involved in humanitarian aid? What sort of missions work were they doing?
With an organisation called MICO, Middle East Christian Outreach, and my dad was working at a hospital in administration. My mum was actually teaching at a school for the blind, and so she was helping these young children that couldn't see and teach them how to read Braille and just how to do day-to-day tasks.
I think that's a wonderful thing, that there's in fact, just this morning I heard Pastor Greg Laurie on A New Beginning. He's talking about how kindness can be an effective form of evangelism because, sometimes people had this thought you've got to sort of bash people over the head with the gospel, but just being kind to people can actually be a wonderful bridge, can't it?
Absolutely. And you know what? I think it has never been easier to share the gospel than right now. And I'll tell you a story that's a bit closer to home. At our school, the Year 7s had their camp just last week, and backpackers helped to run the camp. And one of the backpackers was talking to the students and said, "So you guys go to a Christian school. Are you guys Christians?" And some of the students were like, "Oh, yeah, we're Christians." And some were like, "Oh, no, not really." And he said, "Well, look, I'm trying to get my hands on a Bible. Can you tell me how I can get a Bible? I've just become really curious about Christianity." And one of the dads overheard the conversation. He just happens to be a pastor. And so, of course, he has his Bible with him everywhere he goes. And so he was able to actually give him his own Bible. And have an amazing conversation with him about Christianity and faith. And I don't know what it's like at your church, but we're running out of car park space at the moment. There is just such this incredible hunger. And I've had that experience, when it's that we're going to have 90 seconds to talk to the person in front of you. The number of times I've done that lately, and it's been with a couple or a family that were like, we've just decided we need to come to church, and we don't know why. We just feel compelled. So something is going on, and it's, if you've ever been nervous about talking about the gospel, I think now is a great time to start, because I think the world, and particularly Australians, are really hungry for it.
Absolutely. It's so true, and a great reminder, AJ, and I think whether we're going to the other side of the world or just to the neighbour's fence, we can take the gospel and we can do it in love. So a great reminder. Thanks so much for your encouragement. And I love that story. I reckon we'll have to hear some more stories about your missionary parents in another time and how that's impacted your life and your family as well. So thanks so much for your time today.
Bless you guys.
Always great to speak with AJ Spur, and love to hear from you this morning about Go Week as well. What are you doing? If it's been to the other end of the world or just up the street, we want to hear how you're going and sharing your faith.
Yeah, share some tips with us. How do you share your faith? Everyone's different in this area. Some of us are more quiet, some of us are more bold, but collectively, as the Christian church, it is our job to go into all the world and make disciples.
Exactly. That's the Great Commission. It wasn't the Great Suggestion. It was the Great Commission that Jesus left us with as he went back to heaven.
I've heard of all-day breakfast on the menu, but here's a brekkie show available 24/7. Thanks for streaming the Rise and Shine Daily Podcast.
And it's a very good morning to our Vision family in Balaclava in South Australia.
Say that again, Robbo.
Balaclava.
Balaclava. There's a place in Russia called Balaclava, isn't there?
Oh, there you go.
Because that's where the Crimean War was fought, and that's when the English and the Allied soldiers started wearing balaclavas to keep warm because it was so cold.
Yeah, that's right. Well, it was cold in Balaclava. I actually visited there. In fact, this month is the 23rd anniversary of Balaclava joining the Vision family. And I visited there in the winter of that year, and it was cold.
And you needed a balaclava?
Oh, my goodness. I needed several balaclavas, I think. It was very, very cool there in the middle of winter. But g'day to you if you're listening this morning in Balaclava. It's not winter at the moment. It's sunny today, and it's going to be a top of 30 degrees, so pretty warm. Currently 20, but climbing to 30 degrees for our Vision family members. Celebrating a bit of a milestone this month with the 23rd anniversary of being part of the Vision family.
And no need for a balaclava today in Balaclava.
That's right, yes. If you were wearing one, you'd be feeling pretty warm, I think.
Oh, you keep the sun off, though.
Yeah, that's true.
Well, Robert, I got a Bible verse for you. We've been working our way through Isaiah chapter 45, and it says here in verse 10 or 11, I should say, the labour of Egypt and the merchandise of Cush and of the Sabaeans, men of stature, shall come over to you, and they shall be yours. They shall walk behind you. They shall come over in chains, and they shall bow down to you. They will make supplication to you, saying, surely God is in you, and there is no other. There is no other God. Now, I read this again, just like with the screaming Egyptians getting drowned before I read a spiritual message into that of our spiritual enemies dying. I read this verse in a spiritual context to people coming to the Lord, coming into the house of God in chains and saying, surely God is in you. Help me get out of these chains. I want to experience a new life. And we're all about go this week, Robbo. So that scripture to me is all about the go. As the church does its job, as we pray, reach out, evangelize, people come to us in their chains, and those chains get lifted and their lives are changed through their faith in Jesus.
Brought to you by the generosity of Vision family members across Australia and around the world. The Rise and Shine podcast.
And it is great to have you in the studio today, Rob. If you're just joining us, Phil is celebrating a 25th anniversary today. There is a Facebook post about it. Go to our Rise and Shine Facebook page and you can see that. You can see a photo of a very young couple, Murray and Phil, 25 years ago, looking very good, as they look very good today too, Rob.
That's right, yes. But it's like that sort of, it's got a bit of an old photo look to it, doesn't it? Like it's got that sort of, like it's a photo of a photo, if you like, on Facebook. But no, it's a beautiful photo of the lovely couple. So check it out and wish them a happy anniversary while you're there on Facebook. But, this year at Vision, we've called it the Year of Disciple Making, spiritual growth and disciple making. And so being a disciple, of course, we've been, over the last few weeks, you and Fel have talked about things like prayer and worship and other things that we do as a part of our daily rhythms and habits. And this week we've got a different thing.
Yeah, we're talking about go this week, Robbo, because healthy disciples make disciples. A healthy church grows. And when I say church, I mean the worldwide Church of Jesus across the world. It's God's will for the church to grow. And so part of the mission of every church is that we grow and that we go into all the world and make disciples. So this week we've been calling it Go Week and just asking you to share your stories. How do you go? How do you disciple? How do you make disciples outside your little space, because even healthy trees, they produce fruit, don't they, Robbo? If it's an apple tree, it produces apples. If it's an orange tree, well, you've guessed it, yeah, it'll grow oranges. And so the church should be growing. We should be making disciples. People should be getting saved and discipled and established in God through us.
Yep, that's so true. And, there's lots of different ways that we can achieve that. We were chatting with AJ Spur earlier. She was talking about her parents who were missionaries, in Lebanon for 15 years. But obviously we can be a missionary to our neighbour or, someone up the street or someone at work or that sort of thing. We don't necessarily need to, go to another country to do that. But I was listening this morning with Pastor Greg on A New Beginning just before we started this morning. And he was talking about this idea of, I guess, reaching out to people around you. Have a listen to what Pastor Greg was sharing.
And when you're just out and about in life, you see someone, they're upset, they're hurting, maybe they're crying. Is everything okay? Well, I just found this news out. Oh, really? Well, listen, I'm a Christian and I believe in the power of prayer. Can I pray for you? You want to know something? Most people will not say no to your offer of prayer. Even non-believers. Can I pray for you? Okay. Now, it might be a little awkward for them, but that's okay. Pray for them. See, show them you care. People don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. And I think sometimes we're thinking about how we're going to argue people into the kingdom of God. You might be surprised to find how far a gesture of kindness will go.
Yeah, it's a great point there from Pastor Greg. A gesture of kindness certainly does bridge a lot of gaps, I guess, when it comes to sharing our faith.
Yeah, well, even the chaplain Cynthia we spoke to, who's got a robo-vac called Disco Dave.
Disco Dave, yeah.
She was saying, I'm not allowed to, share the gospel. But I was just thinking, wow, a nice, happy chaplain in the morning give me a hot pancake as a kid. I definitely would have thought, wow, Christians are nice people, aren't they? And that's sowing a seed, isn't it?
Exactly, that's right. It's, sowing the seed, bridging a gap, and making opportunities. And as Cynthia was saying to us earlier, she's praying that that will lead to a question, and then she can answer the question when it comes from the students. So let us know this morning. We'd love to hear from you. How do you reach out to people around you? Maybe you're doing similar things to Cynthia and cooking pancakes. Maybe you just random acts of kindness, whatever it might be. Let us know. We'd love to hear this morning. 1-800-316-316.
Subscribe and listen to the Rise and Shine podcast in the free Vision app. It's easy and available everywhere.
Really enjoying being with you today, Robbo. The boys are back in town.
That's right, but only for today. Fel is back with us tomorrow. It's her 25th anniversary. If you haven't heard, there's a beautiful photo of Fel and Muzz on Facebook. You can jump on, check it out, and wish them happy anniversary.
And people have, Robbo. There's a couple more comments have come through. Kari has said, happy 25th anniversary. May God continue to bless your life together. And Kate has said, such cuties, so young. Blessed anniversary. Enjoy your celebrations. Thank you, Kate and Kari, and also Lizzie, who sent comments earlier on the Rise and Shine Facebook page.
Yep, check it out. It's in the group as well, so you can see that very cute photo of Muzz and Fel there on Facebook. But we are talking about evangelism this week, and we're calling it Go Week, and asking you, how do you reach out to people with the good news of the gospel? We want to hear from you on 1-800-316-316. Abraham's given us a call this morning. Abraham, you reckon you've got an easy way to do it?
The easiest way I come across was, I remember one of my mentors many years ago, when I first became a Christian, he said in the church, he said, Abraham, he goes, do you have life insurance? Do you have vehicle insurance? I'm going, yeah. He said, do you have house content insurance? I'm going, yeah. So I'm thinking, where's he going with this? He said, now this is a very important question. He said, what's that? Do you have life insurance? I'm going, no, I haven't actually thought about it. He said, listen, I've got a really good concept of life insurance, and it's for free. I'm a bit curious, because being a new Christian at the time, he said, so how do I obtain this? And you're saying it's free. His name's Jesus. So give your life to him, and he'll give you life. And now, when I'm thinking about that, every time I see somebody new, I say the same concept. And I tell you what, guys, it's so simple when you say it that way.
Absolutely. And I think it's really important, isn't it, that you, because, life insurance is a funny thing. It's a bit like you were saying yesterday, Andy. I heard you and Fel talking about, Leave a Legacy Week, and the fact that, we don't like the idea of writing a will because you're thinking about the fact that you're going to die. Life insurance is a bit the same. but ultimately we all die. I mean, that's, the ultimate statistic. 10 out of 10 people die. But we need to, I guess, have an assurance that when we do, we know where we're going to go.
Well, that's the idea, and that's why this mentor of mine keep persisting. He said, "Hey, no matter what you go through, just always remember that insurance you have with Christ, it's always with you." So we've all been through ups and downs. Like I've been through a lot in my life. But when I go through a hardship in my life, I remember what he said. And when I look back and just focus on Christ, your insurance is already planted. Your tree of and hope of life is already planted. So we have nothing to worry about.
That is a great reminder, Abraham. Thanks so much for the call, mate. You can do the same. Give us a call, 1-800-316-316, as we continue this theme of Go Week all this week.
And if you want to grow, Robbo, you got to go. And Abraham's a real goer, isn't he? He's going all the time. But, you know the analogy. We all know. But let's remind ourselves of the Dead Sea. The Dead Sea is dead because it doesn't flow anywhere. And I think as Christians, sometimes we want to grow. So we think, let me get as much information, as much knowledge, as much experience, as much prayer, as much of our favourite teaching or worship. But that's not enough. If you want to grow, you've actually got to go. There's got to be an outlet. There's got to be a flow, hasn't there, Robbo, out of our hearts into the lives of the unbelievers in this world who need Jesus.
Yep, exactly. It's good to get all that stuff in, but then you've got to let that out to others as well. So great reminder. Let us know, what do you do to share your faith with others? You can call through 1-800-316-316. Now, normally we'd be getting ready for Saints of the Century, but Jesse, our carryover champ, isn't available today, so we won't do that, but that means we can continue this conversation. And also, we had been talking earlier about naming appliances. We've had so many great calls, Andy.
Some funny names out there for some appliances. And if you've got a name for your appliance and you haven't been able to get through to us yet, because a lot of people are calling, call us. We want to know the name of your favourite appliance.
Great conversations and great friends. The Rise and Shine podcast.
And Robert, the big news is, if you're just joining us, the Bible story sound off was actually solved today, Robbo.
That's right.
It is big news. It's breaking news.
Yes.
The sound was solved. It was a tricky sound that had layers of complexity, layers of texture. Hours went into the production of this sound, Robbo. In fact, earlier in the show, I did say to you, Robbo, just sit down, get yourself some popcorn, maybe a soft drink, maybe some Maltesers if that's your thing in the cinema, because this is almost like a Hollywood blockbuster. Are we able to play the full sound, Robbo?
Yes, have a listen. So this is what we've been trying, and this has been going for over a week now, trying to figure out what Bible story this sound relates to. I love the squeal at the end.
I love the scream too. Is there something wrong with us, Robbo? Why do we like that screaming Juppo so much? I mean, you guys are about to drown and we're laughing at him.
It's amazing. So, yes, we did have a winner earlier, and this is a very cute winner that we had a couple of hours ago.
When the Egyptians tried to stop the Israelites from crossing the Red Sea.
And what happened?
The Egyptians got destroyed by the waves.
Judah, how old are you?
7.
What a cool little man you are. Do you listen to Rise and Shine, or has your mum or dad put you up to this challenge this morning to call us?
Mum and Dad.
Did you think of the answer yourself, Judah, or did mum and dad give you the answer too?
Me.
Judah?
So it's your answer. You've called on behalf of the family, and you know what, mate? You're correct.
Yes! Judah!
Well done.
Judah!
You've nailed it.
Judah, you have nailed it, my young friend. Nailed it.
Jumping for joy. He certainly was jumping for joy. That was Judah. A couple of hours back, won the Bible story sound off. So a brand new sound coming up tomorrow.
It's big news, Robbo. This has probably become international news as well by now, I suspect. But I'm going to raid that prize cover for Judah too. He's getting more than the average prize. But look, and to all of our listeners out there, we're not laughing at that poor Egyptian about to drown. It's a spiritual analogy for our spiritual enemies, isn't it, Robbo? Because the Bible says when we get water baptized, it's the same as when Moses went into the Red Sea. As he went in, he came out, but his enemies didn't come out.
Yep.
And so we're just laughing at our spiritual enemies, aren't we, Robbo?
Absolutely. That's so true.
Lots of laughs with lots of heart. The Rise and Shine podcast.
And Robbo, we've had two themes today, really, haven't we? All about go. It's Go Week. But also, there was a Facebook post last night. Do you name your appliances? Now, I've got to be honest with you, Robbo. I thought maybe 1 in a million people might do this, but it sounds like lots of people name their appliances.
We have had lots of calls about that this morning, and James has given us a call just now. James, what are you calling about? Naming appliances or Go Week?
Well, I have got a dog named Lockie, which is a bit of a disposal unit, but no, that wasn't why I called.
I love it.
Well, what does Lockie dispose of, mate, besides your standard dog food? What other areas does he help you out with?
Oh, well, he keeps my chair warm. He's sitting in my chair right now and keeping it warm. So, sometimes he keeps me a little bit warm at night and vice versa.
Nice.
But no, I was really calling about the evangelism thing. The thing that I've learned is, and you know it too, that if you're led by the Spirit of God, you're the sons of God. So I don't go unless God tells me to go. And every time it's a success. You might say go down to the skate park or something and share with the kids. And, so I'll share my testimony with them, thinking to myself, I wish that someone had done that to me when I was younger, The other thing I'd touch on is I take a box of food to the chaplain at the school every week, and they try and use that and say, well, Jim can do it, you can do it, just to encourage the chaplains, but...
That's great.
So, yes, as a witness, so there could be something else, like in the centre of our town, God said to me, go to one corner, I want you to pray on that corner. The next corner, which was a week later, I want you to outreach. So I outreach, this is during Christmas, and then the other corner was singing some songs, and the last corner was to prophesy and decree, to take over the spiritual realm.
Wow.
And just so that, because we get other people go down there and do all kinds of things. So that's just a couple of things. But yeah, just going to the supermarket at the right time. If God says go, I go, and usually I'll meet someone that went down. I'd talk to a lady who I'd worked in her shop with her husband, fella, 30 years ago. Or more, and so I used to go out in the streets in Melbourne 33 years ago, and but the people I was going with, they were very abrupt. Like, people would be going back to work from lunch, and they were trying to stop him on their way back to work, and it just seemed like it was turning people off. So I started thinking, well, I'm going to sit down with people in the middle of the Burke Street Mall and start sharing with them, and they're sort of not in a place to have to get back to work. I'm going to lose my job, timing and all that sort of stuff. And so it's just a more relaxed approach, but naturally supernatural, like whatever you're doing. I had a mate who was a golfer, so he ended up becoming captain of the team, so he's got 100 people. I do a lot of stuff online, I see write comments, even especially with all the anti-Semitism, writing stuff in there to praise God and praise him for Israel and say, we love you and we're supporting you. So that's whatever the Lord leads me to do, I'll just be open to His will.
Great. I guess the key thing in all of that is, as you've said, listen to the voice of the Spirit and then act when you hear some instruction. And then, yes, it's not always going to look the same, but you just ultimately trying to be obedient to the Lord. So that's really encouraging, James. Thanks so much for sharing that with us today.
Glory to God. Thank you.
Rise and shine on Vision Christian Radio.
Michael's given us a call this morning. Do you name an appliance, Michael?
A named appliance after an early American president, George Washing Machine.
Oh, that is brilliant. George Washing Machine.
And if he plays up, he gets a temporary name change, a bit of a kick, and told him to pull his head in.
Oh, that's brilliant.
But what's his name change when he's not performing, or what do you call him then?
Oh, I won't. I won't tell you that.
Doesn't bear repeating. That's brilliant. I love that, Michael. That is very creative. I don't think I've ever heard anyone name their washing machine George Washing Machine. That's fantastic.
Now, some would say George Washington was one of the greatest US presidents ever. Is that one of the greatest washing machines you've ever had?
No, not really.
Sounds like brilliant. George Washing Machine's not getting a lot of love in your house.
Yeah, he's good when he works good. Yeah, he's quite good. But when he works bad, he's bad. He gets told to behave.
Actually, I do have a funny story here, Mal. I will share a story. So when I was in PNG with some missionaries, when they first got a washing machine, they were in a very remote area. The local villagers and that would come and watch this washing machine wash clothes. I'd never seen anything like it. And one day the missionary found this really old man who was obviously born almost in the Stone Age, and he used to sit there and talk to the washing machine and say, "How do you do what you do? Who taught you to wash these clothes? Where did you come from?" And he would literally be talking to it in his local language, not understanding that the missionary understood his language. And he would just be talking this thing, "Who are you?"
That's brilliant. Thanks so much for the call, Michael. Great to hear from you.
No, you too.
Say hello to Washington for us too.
I will.
George Washing Machine. I love that. That is a very unique suggestion.
Wait a minute. Are you telling me Vision's breakfast show is now available around the clock and on demand? Incredible! The Rise and Shine podcast. Rise and Shine.
Good morning to our Vision family in Binningup in WA, listening in on 87.6 FM.
Say that again, Robbo.
Binningup.
Binningup.
Yep.
How do you spell that?
Binningup.
There you go.
Binningup. If it ends with up, you know it's in WA typically. But actually, Binningup is celebrating an anniversary this month. They're going to be 4 years part of the Vision family. So relatively new, but great to have you on board and checking the weather for you for the southwest of WA. Partly cloudy, expecting it to get pretty windy, up to 30 k's an hour later today. And a top of 28 degrees today. It's currently 16, climbing to 28 for our Vision family in Binningup.
Very good. I love that. I'm not going to even try and say that. I'm going to get it wrong if I do. But I can say this, Robbo. I'm in Isaiah 45. I have danced ahead to verse 23 because it's so good. And God himself says here, I have sworn by myself, the word has gone out of my mouth in righteousness and shall not return. That to me, every knee shall bow and every tongue shall take an oath. And, of course, that scripture is repeated in Philippians where it says every knee will bow and every tongue confess that Jesus is Lord.
Yep, exactly. That's so good. What was that, Isaiah?
Isaiah chapter 45, verse 23.
Excellent. That is a good one.
We're caffeinated and ready to face the day. This is Rise and Shine on Vision.
Really enjoyed having you with me today, Rob. And if you're just joining us, and some of our WA listeners are just joining us because it's early for them right now, Fel is away today, but it's also her 25th anniversary. And we posted a nice photo of the young couple, Murray and Fel, from 25 years ago on our Rise and Shine Facebook page. And, Robbo, we've got another comment. I've got to read it out. Are you ready for this? Someone has said here, did I say that right? Or happiest love-filled day to you both. Much love from us, Sarah Mandifs here in South Australia. So thank you so much, Tanya, for sending in that really nice comment to Murray and Phil, who celebrate their 25th anniversary today, Robbo.
Very special day for them. So, jump on, check out that cute photo and add a comment from yourself as well. Phil will be back tomorrow.
The Rise and Shine podcast.
There's one song left to play on Rise and Shine, and it's your choice. It's time for the curtain call.
There are lots of ways to request a curtain call, of course. You can call, you can text, you can send a carrier pigeon, however you like.
Even a message on Facebook will do the trick, Robbo.
That's
but
true.
Whichever way, we want to hear what you want us to play.
And Karen has sent a message on Facebook. In fact, she posted to the Rise and Shine group. She sent a great little thought around, because obviously we're calling this Go Week, and so she was reflecting on that and quoted the verse, of course, in Matthew 28, the Great Commission, about going into all the world. And she also shared the link to the YouTube video of the classic Keith Green song, Jesus Commands Us to Go.
I love Keith Green. I used to be mocked, Robbo. I just want to let you know, I was mocked in it was the late 90s, early 2000s, because I still loved Keith Green music. But like lots of things, it's kind of become cool again. It's retro again, and I just love his music because I love the heart behind it.
Yeah, it is a great message. And this is it just for you, Karen. The curtain call for today, Jesus Commands Us to Go. It is an absolute classic from Keith Green from 1982. This is a live version of this song.
It's the daily podcast of your favourite Aussie breakfast show, Rise and Shine. Rise and Shine.
He loves everybody else.
A bit of a fadeaway there, Keith Green. Jesus Commands Us to Go. And a classic there. By request, the curtain call just for Karen. Thanks, Karen, for getting in touch and requesting that one.
And I'm going to give a shout out. If you've never heard of Keith Green before and you like that song, there's a book called No Compromise, written by his wife, his life story. It's a really good read. The first time I found that book, Robbo, I read it all night. I couldn't stop.
Wow, that's amazing. I've heard lots of people that have read it and been inspired by the book, so definitely worth reading. No Compromise from Keith Green. But we'll be back with another curtain call same time tomorrow. When I say we, not it's the royal we. It'll be you and Fel back again tomorrow.
I'll be back with Fel, and it is her 25-year anniversary today. So thank you to those who commented on Facebook and sent all your love and your prayers. But yeah, looking forward to having Fel back tomorrow, and our chaplains who are also our local pastors, Mark and Cindy. I'm also going to speak with an African pastor, Robbo, who has the fourth biggest church in the world, and just get a little bit of his story, because I'll give a little teaser here. He started with 15 people, And now
Wow.
he's got like the fourth biggest church in the world, congregations in over 100 nations, hundreds of thousands of people involved in that church. It's a remarkable story.
Wow, that's amazing. Well, that's going to be worth having a listen to. Of course, that'll be, I guess, along the theme of Go Week, which is continuing throughout this week as well on Rise and Shine. So enjoy the balance of your Tuesday. Stay safe, take care, and Phil and Andy will join you again first thing tomorrow.
Thanks for taking time to listen to this audio on demand from Vision Christian Media. To find out more about us, go to vision.org.au.